Hello, welcome back to building my virtual race car video 7 I think we're on now. This one we're talking about the shifter, which I just got installed, the H-pattern shifter from ProSim, manufactured by themselves and Quaife, who manufacture actual gearboxes for actual cars. So yeah, this thing looks pretty good. I'm very excited to have it in the rig, and yeah, let's have a look. So here's the rig as it was at the end of the last one, with the addition of the shifter down here. So you'll maybe remember from the earlier videos where I think the first video where I put the chassis together, we had the two bars running out here. You can see just about underneath there's a bar running out to pretty much here, and then one that was running out earlier further at the front. And those were going to be for the shifter all along, so now we have it and it's in place. It's quite dark down here as always, but yeah, you can see a couple of things I did is that I moved this bar in a bit. If I come around this side, you can probably see down here, yeah, it's just close to the wee extra chassis rail that I mounted the button boxes on. I took it so it almost touches that, because obviously there's no point having it hanging a bit over there. And then, yeah, 2 bolts at the front here, on the other side for the shifter. And then the rear one, yeah, 2 bolts again, side to side there. Put a couple of mounts, each of these bars I've got a mount, actually a corner bracket at the back, one underneath there, and one at the front underneath the shifter, just about see it in there somewhere. The front one, then one at the back, one underneath at this side to kind of give it some rigidity side to side, and then there's one at the front as well. I think, no, there's not one at the front, there's one at this side underneath. So this one's held side to side and the back, this one's held front to back and the side. One little tweak I made to the chassis after trying things out to start with is that here, this bar that is for the shifter is mounted straight onto the upright for the steering column at the front. But it's the steering column is obviously spaced out. There's a wee spacer, and SimLab give you a little spacer to put in at the back. In the instructions it shows the spacer at the bottom, but obviously if you only secure this down here and you're hauling them out in a gear stick up here, the whole thing wants to shake a little bit. So I moved it up to the top, and that's pretty much done away with any perceivable movement that I was getting on the shifter. So very happy with that. The shifter itself, yeah, I mean it's a piece of kit, isn't it? You've got the shifter here, obviously. It all connects through some jiggery pokery in here with what is essentially, as I think Barry Rowland called it, a gearbox without the gears, and it is. You've got 6-speed gearbox in there with all the selector handles and levers and things as you would in a real gearbox, and it therefore gives you the same feeling. It's quite amazing. Let's pop out and have a look at this side, because there's a bit of light at this side. It's yeah, it's this is the best way to describe it. It is just a gearbox without the actual gears in it. Yeah, so again, as I say, 6-speed, and you've got 2 reverses. So you've got towards you and forward for first, 2nd back, 3rd in the middle, 4th straight back, 5th up at that side. Difficult to do when I'm not in the car. There we go. And 6th straight back there. And you also got, if you push down, you can come this way and into reverse forward, or you've got a reverse backwards as well. That's it. This bit here is an adjustment for, you can screw this in and out, and it gives you more resistance actually going into gears and out of gears. And there's a wee nut, a couple of nuts actually at the end of that spring in there, and you can adjust that back and forward once you take some of these plates off to give you your resistance side to side. So very customisable. Yeah, I mean it's like it's a proper race car or actual car bit of kit. I mean, I don't know if you can see there the Quaife and the ProSim manufacturer logos on top, but yeah, I mean very high quality, very impressed. And the best way to show you guys how it works is to actually just sit and drive the car. So we'll do that. We'll hop into a car, go to Knockhill, because it's the circuit I have real world experience of driving a H-pattern shifter at, and yeah, show you some stuff. I just want to show you one other thing before we move on, if I can find it. Tell you what, I'll pause the video and show you in a sec. So one final thing before we jump in and have a go, I explained to the guys at ProSim my background, obviously in Formula Ford, and how the standard shifter knob on here is great for like a kind of historic car or like a GT style race car gear knob, but the one in the Formula Ford was more like this type of shape, which is what they supply with their sequential gearbox. So I asked if there was any possibility that I could, or if there were two that were interchangeable for a start. There's a wee bolt on top of there. Turns out they are interchangeable, and they very kindly agreed to send me it for no extra cost, so I could swap and change. So yeah, that's amazing. They also sent me the extension, which I don't think I need, but again, hugely kind of them to send me that for free. And yeah, it was fantastic to. I popped this on initially. It just made me feel straight at home, like in a Formula 4 dogs style box. So if I do decide to race any kind of modern H-pattern cars, then especially single seaters, we'll go with something like that. And obviously the knob that's on it's more for road cars and GT cars, historic cars as well. I think like the old F1 cars had kind of small knobs like this on them. So, but yeah, thank you ProSim for that, and I will leave it there. Right, let's get into the car and have a drive. Right, here we are at Knockhill in the Pontiac Solstice, which is one of the slowest cars in iRacing. But you know, for purposes of changing gear, it's good because it's got the old synchro mesh gearbox that we need to use. So yeah, set it up here. You should be able to see the screen, my feet, and then here in the darkness, we've obviously got the shifter. So yeah, I've set the pedals up as well, pretty soft on the brake, so we're in road car mode if you like. So yeah, let's do some laps and see how it feels. Ignition, I think you've got to hold the clutch to start this car. Yeah, that worked. Right, first, let's try not to hit anything as we make our way out the pits. I'm automatically going to left foot brake, but of course I don't need to, so I need to use the clutch. Oof. Pretty low rev limit on these things. But yeah, the shifter just immediately, it kind of brings you home to what it feels like to drive a car again. A car with a... Oof, get the gear, Jordan. Car with a manual box. Yeah, I mean obviously I haven't tried any other shifters, sim shifters, but yeah, I mean this is something else. You just feel the clunk as it goes in. It's quite loud. I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, but it's quite a loud noise. Oof. Give it more revs, Jordan. Ah! That's what happens if you miss the gear. Get the clutch down properly. But yeah, I mean, solid, clunky, obviously all the adjustment in it as well. Try taking this in third this time. So you can just dial in exactly how much resistance side to side, how much resistance into each gear. I need to work on my timing slightly. But yeah, this actually takes me back to driving the Mini. It was obviously when I started car racing at Knockhill, it was the Mini Cooper I drove, and yeah, it feels very similar. I need to get into third away early there. Maybe be able to take that in third actually, that corner. McIntyre's. But yeah, this is bringing back lots of memories of Hitting the rev limiter there. Driving the Mini. I can't remember ever having to shift up the fourth there in the Mini, mind you. Oh, it's a long time between gears. But yeah, I mean, what else do you need? I mean, this is like changing gear in a car. They've definitely achieved what they set out to. Oof. Trying third over. Oh, so much push from the engine. But maybe if I set that up better, third might be the way to go. Wee confidence lift through as you can. Stick on the lap time so I can see how I'm doing. 1 minute point 8 was my fastest lap so far. I mean, this is obviously one of the slowest cars in iRacing. Ah, that was terrible. But it's amazing fun having the shifter here. I mean, prior to this, my old steering wheel and pedals, I just had like a sequential plastic shifter thing at the side, which, although it gave you the feel of taking your hands off the wheel and it's too fast a corner for a second, it gave you the feel of, you know, taking your hands off the wheel, changing gear. It just didn't have the realism of this proper H pattern. You find yourself wanting to shift just for the sheer joy of changing gear. It's brilliant. I can imagine if you were doing like a, what are those, like a free roaming driving game. This would be quite nice, just plopping up through the gears using this. You can probably hear my shifts aren't timed great, but a bit slower in changing gear, to be fair. I haven't had much practice, in my defence. Pretty much just hopped into this thing and recorded the video. Let's try in third without... Ah, it just pushes on in third. So it needs to be second, but then you need to change up very early on the exit. Let's try fly through as you can, shall we? Ah, easy, although I wasn't carrying race speed, was I? That's just a bit too fast. But yeah, this is great fun. As I say, in the slowest car in iRacing, this thing has made it very enjoyable. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed that. Hope it's been useful. If you're in the market for a H pattern shifter, this is pretty much the best one out there. I think I can't think of anything coming close to this. Quality wise, the fact it's made by, you know, people that make real gearboxes, it certainly does feel the part. Ah. Certainly completes my sim rig anyway. Ah, should have changed up there and then back down again immediately. Yeah, no, loving it. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. The problem with the sim rig is that you don't want to come off it once you've started. I may be here for some time. See you later.